right. So, Brittany,
Mhm.
Foreverland Farm, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here. I
Yeah.
love to learn a little bit more about the sanctuary, what you guys do with the animals that you serve, and kind of how you guys got started.
Sure. So we incorporated as a nonprofit in 2018. I am the founder of the sanctuary, but I have started rescuing animals, I like to say, since I was like a little girl. Started out with horses. I grew up riding horses and being in the equestrian community. And as I got older, I rescued my first horse, Booger, 12 years ago now. And he's really the one that started the sanctuary. He kind of opened my eyes to, you know, the condition that some horses are kept in, and then the plight of farm animals. I didn't know that there was such a thing as like a farm animal sanctuary. Um, but once I learned that, I was kind of like, okay, I've already done this work with horses. I know horses. I think I could extend that to other farm animals. I was wrong and I had a lot to learn, but it's worked out and we've been successful so far. So again, we incorporated in 2018. Our primary mission is to provide sanctuary, so a safe place for the most vulnerable animals. So our primary focus again is farmed animals. So that's horses, goats, sheep, chickens. We don't have any cows, but cows, like any animal that you would find on a farm. And we just provide them lifelong sanctuary. And those animals come from all various different places, like some are abandoned, abused, some are kind of at the end of the line, getting ready to be euthanized. We take in special needs animals that people can't financially or physically care for anymore. We're kind of the last resort.
Now, you're located in Ohio. How far out have you gone to rescue some farm animals?
Oh gosh, we have two potbelly pigs from California.
Oh,
So that's probably the farthest that they've come. There was a big hoarding case. There was about 500 potbelly pigs that were on one farm being neglected. I think they even were just left, were abandoned at the time. So obviously nobody can take in 500 pigs at a time. So there was a big effort amongst the sanctuary community to place these pigs all over the country. So a lot of the West Coast sanctuaries took in pigs, and then the ones that didn't find placement made their journey from California all the way to Vermont. So, like, literally across the span of the country. We have two of those pigs. We fostered two for another sanctuary here in Ohio. So it was a big group effort, but that's probably our farthest.
and with the sanctuary that you belong to, or you started, I'm
Mhm.
assuming there's other sanctuaries that can kind of all help each other out when you have a situation like that. Like, how big is that sanctuary community? And is it only farm animal sanctuaries that you're part of, or is it kind of spread into different types of animals?
Yeah, so there is a large network of sanctuaries because it's kind of like it's like dog and cat rescues. No one person can save all of these animals. There's this endless need. Um, so we have to help each other out. So we work with a really great group of people. It's not just only farmed animal sanctuaries. We work with a lot of horse rescues. We personally work with our local shelter. So our dog and cat shelter, if they get in a chicken or a duck, those shelters aren't equipped to handle those kind of cases. So they'll reach out to us, and if we're able to, we'll help them. So anybody really within the rescue community. We also have worked with private homes, like people who are just love animals, and can properly care for them. We've also worked with them to find placement. Just anything that we can do to help more animals in need.
And how do people find out about your sanctuary if they have an issue? Like, what's the first thing? For me, I've never really heard of a farm animal sanctuary before.
Mhm.
So obviously, I'm sure if you have farm animals, aminals, I don't know how to say that word, but if you have farm animals,
Mhm.
um, I'm sure it's kind of a community well-known thing. But what's the best way that people kind of find out about you, or how do they kind of come into your world?
Yeah, so in our local community, we've established really great relationships with our veterinarians. We have such a large number of animals and such a variety of species that we have multiple vets.
Mm,
So all of those offices, they know who we are, they know the work we do. So um, sometimes people's first line is like, "Oh, I have this animal, I don't know what to do," is to call a vet's office. So they'll call. So we get referrals from them. We get referrals from the animal shelter, like I said. On a larger scale, we do a lot of education and advocacy, like through social media. So, like on our Instagram and Facebook, we share our stories about the animals. We've grown, a little bit of a following on there, so people kind of know who we are. Also, people can just Google us. I think if they Google like animal rescue, in our local area, Foreverland Farm will come up. So we get a lot of requests through our website. Um, and a lot of it's just word of mouth. Like I've seen actually today, somebody posted on Facebook about a little rooster that has been outside in the cold and
mm,
was abandoned, and somebody found him. And so they posted on Facebook, and like a million people tagged us in that. So it's kind of like that thing, like word of mouth. Like we see this, and oh, I know this place that can help. So it's that. And we've been in our community for a while now. So a lot of people know who we are and have seen the work we do. So that's how we kind of get referrals.
nice. How many
Mhm.
calls and messages do you think you get a year?
Oh gosh, I really should track that because we don't at this point, but it's a lot. Like I probably at least one a day, if not multiple a day.
Oh,
And
wow.
obviously we can't say yes to all of those. And that's the hardest part about this job is not being able to help all of those animals. But what we can do is try, like we were talking about before, place them in other places, other sanctuaries or private homes, try to facilitate, that rescue that way. Um, and also do a lot of advocacy work and educating the public so some animals don't end up in these positions, so they don't need rescue in the first place because people are making better choices when it comes to, buying or adopting or, just taking in animals that maybe they're not adequately prepared to care for.
Hmm. I'm actually envisioning like the red light siren going off and you guys throwing on your gear and going out and rescuing some animal out there. You kind of
Sure.
got like the Ghostbusters vehicle that's
Mhm.
kind of running out there. Um,
I've done that.
so like when a call comes in, like how fast? What has been the fastest response time to a call that has come in, and how far did you have to travel? And what was the animal that you had to pick up?
So probably the fastest because most of the time the animal will already be not necessarily in a safe place, but will be in a place, right? Like whether that be if it's a neglect case, we know where that animal is. If law enforcement is involved, like there's a procedure that we have to follow, so there's a timeline for that. Um, one rescue that I'm thinking about was our one of our sheep. Her name is Agatha. She was found running down 75 here in Ohio. It's a highway.
Hmm.
Um, and somebody had posted on Facebook and was like, I just saw the sheep running down the highway. Like, I I don't know what to do. Immediately, like we got a phone call from one of our friends that had seen that post and was like, hey, there's this sheep, gave us kind of the central location. And Sawyer, my partner, and I, we like looked at each other. It was a Saturday morning, and we're like, okay, let's go. And we literally got up, put on our gear, and left to go find her. Um, so that was immediate. It took us 2 days to be able to capture her. We were out there for 2 days, like in the cold, in the rain. We had a huge group of people. Like I put out the call for volunteers because I knew two of us wouldn't be able to catch a sheep out in the woods. So yeah, we spent 2 days out there, and finally at the end of day 2, we ended up catching her, like just by sheer luck. And she's been at Sanctuary ever since. I think it's been 4 or 5 years now. So
That's amazing. This is where I'm going to have our editor throw in that snapshot from Ghostbusters with the lady that slams the button that says, "We got one."
Thank you. We got one!
yeah. Very good. Yeah,
So
that was the quickest, because we were just like, all right, let's go. I guess we're gonna go.
that's awesome. What does the day-to-day look like for you and volunteers, that are working the sanctuary?
So day to day, we have a pretty set like routine. Consistency with animals is very important, and it's very important for our like mental well-being too, because if it's chaos, it will quickly like spiral out of control. But so we have a pretty set routine. The animals wake up every morning at the same time. They're fed breakfast. We make sure everybody has water. We kind of do health screens like while we're feeding everybody, make sure everybody was okay overnight. Once that's complete, then we have a daily cleaning like routine. All the animal areas get cleaned every single day. All the waters get changed, and any other kind of cleaning requirements that we do. But that's pretty much like how that goes. And then at the end of the day, we do the same routine that we did in the morning, check waters, make sure everybody's okay. That's just daily. And then we have to throw in vet visits, farrier visits, other kind of health issues, like if we have to trim goats' hooves. So those kind of like not daily activities are also like mapped out for us on a calendar. So we do things weekly or monthly, just so we can remain consistent with everybody.
Mhm. How many animals do you currently have?
Oh, we have 108 animals right now.
So that seems like it's every day is pretty expensive. So how do you raise money? Where does the money come from to help support the sanctuary? What does that look like?
So primarily we have been just privately funded through individual donations. And that's how we raise probably 90, if not more percent of our annual budget. This year and last year, we have started trying to apply for more grants. But grants take a lot of time. We're a very small team. And there isn't a lot of grant opportunities out there for farmed animal sanctuaries. There are a lot of grants for dog and cat rescues, like spay and neuter programs, like things like that. But when it comes to farmed animals, we kind of are limited, in what we can apply for. So we try to be creative. And this year, I'm really trying to focus on writing more grants and doing that kind of thing. We also host events here at the sanctuary. So we'll have visitor days throughout the year that people can come. We do charge like an admission for adults. Kids are always free. So we help support the sanctuary in that way as well.
Talk a little bit more about the on-site visits from the local community. What do you offer? Any type of classes? Any type of workshops? Anything like that?
We have done a few things in the past. Historically, we call them like open barn days. So people can come and just hang out with the animals. We have volunteers stationed at every area so they can kind of tell their stories. People can interact with the animals that enjoy being interacted with, and just kind of enjoy a day at the farm. So that's always really fun. We do offer like private tours as well for a monetary donation. And you can choose either one of our staff members or myself and Sawyer, who are the founders of the sanctuary, to guide you on that tour. And that's a little bit more personal because we're telling the stories like firsthand. We're there. You can ask questions. We can sit down and have lunch together, that kind of thing. And we also, this year we partnered with another organization to do an alternative to like 4-H for high school students.
Hmm.
So this is a program where they don't own the animal. They're not showing the animal. That animal's not taken, to be processed after 4-H is over. So they learn to care for the animals, like kind of for the rest of their life. It's not show based. It's not, anything like that. So we did start that this year, and that's been going well. And we hope to continue to do that in the future. Another thing that we're starting this year, we started last year, but are growing this year, is our community garden. And we'll have a free farm stand for our local community. So we'll grow produce to feed back to the animals. And then also whatever's left over, we will give away for free to our local community.
Nice. Can you dig a little bit more into 4-H? What is 4-H and how does that, what kind of happens in 4-H?
So in 4-H, they're teaching kids, like younger kids too. I don't know exactly what the age is, but it's not just high school students. Like our program is specifically for high school students. But they're teaching them animal husbandry. So they raise livestock like on their own personal farms. And then they end up showing these animals at like the state fair. So, and once that happens at the end of the fair, the show season, those animals are sent to slaughter. And a lot of children have a hard time with that because they have raised this animal, they've cared for this animal, and now this animal's gone, right? So there isn't really an alternative for that, like kids who don't want to participate in that, but maybe do want to be around animals. Like I know when I was younger, I obviously loved animals, but I wouldn't have wanted to do that. Like it would have broken my heart. So this is just an alternative to that. We don't breed animals here. We don't do anything like that. So they're already coming in just caring for the animals that we already have. Maybe when they're here, they will participate in a rescue, if like the timing aligns, like that kind of thing. But they're just learning, the same essential like skills and stuff, interacting with the animals, caring for them without that end result.
And when you started the sanctuary, what was kind of the driving factor for that creation? I know the horse booger is kind of the start, but was there anything else that was kind of going on at the time that you're like, hey, this is kind of my mission and my passion now, and this is what I want to build? What was the vision behind it?
Sure. So I started after I rescued Booger. I became a vegetarian. And so I was like, I really love animals, and I just started to feel like I needed to align like how I was living in my daily life, with that thing that I valued so much. So I started my journey into vegetarianism, and then I became a vegan. And when I crossed over into veganism, then I started to learn more about, the plight of farmed animals. Nobody really thinks, I guess I never really thought about like farmed animals, like needing to be rescued or necessarily like what they went through, because they're kind of hidden away, from society, and we don't really have a chance to interact with them or really see what happens to them. So that kind of started this whole journey. And then again, like I said, when I saw that animals sanctuaries existed, which I didn't know either, I was like, that's really awesome. And I think that would be something that I could maybe do, as a way to give back to the animals and align, my values, with the way that I was living and what I wanted to contribute, to the world. So that's kind of how it started, and it is just snowballed from there.
Are there any like upcoming projects, initiatives, fundraisers that you guys are have planned for 2024 that would be good to kind of get the word out?
Yeah, so we this past July we just moved to a new property. So we had started a capital campaign in, I believe, 2021, January of 2021, to purchase a new property because our organization had grown. Like I said, we get asked to take in animals every day. At that time, we were operating out of 2 sites. And so we wanted to buy one property, have all of the animals here, and then be able to grow as an organization and be able to get our community more involved. So in July of this year, we did that. We purchased a new farm. It's absolutely beautiful, and the animals are very happy. But there's a lot of stuff that we need to do, so we have a huge list of projects this year. We want to build a small animal adoption center. Primarily, we don't do adoptions, but we will do like guinea pigs, cats, and kittens. We'll do small animal adoptions. And we would like to be able to partner more with our local shelter to be able to like pull kittens or pregnant moms when they're at capacity. So that's one of our main projects. And then the second main project is to build a bird barn and aviary. Right now, our property doesn't have a great bird setup. I mean, it's good, it's nice, but it's not, what we want for them. So that's one of our other projects. So those are the two main things that we're focused on this year, is just building the infrastructure, at our new home that will last them hopefully forever.
Mm-hmm. What is a bird barn? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so that's just it's just a barn. So right now our birds are in individual coops, instead of like one big barn. So our plan is to have like a little barn with an aisle that has different, sections for our bird flocks to be in, and then a huge aviary built off of that. So they have protection from the elements, they have protection from predators like at all times, but they have a huge space that they can be birds and hang out.
And as far as like volunteering, so what when people are volunteering for the sanctuary, what are kind of some of the tasks you have them do? How can they contribute, and then how can they basically find you and get involved?
Sure. So the best way is we have a volunteer application on our website. We ask that all of our volunteers be 18 and older, just because the amount of work, the physical labor of the work is very demanding. And we have found that kids don't do well with that. They get very tired and cranky, which is totally understandable because we do too. But so we ask that everybody be 18 and older. It's a lot of physical labor. So it's like cleaning the animal spaces, mucking out manure in stalls. So being able to, carry a wheelbarrow that's maybe, 100 pounds, be able to roll that, carry hay bales, which are, 50 pounds, things like that. So it's really just cleaning all day. But yeah.
Do you work with any type of government agencies for like volunteering or community service or anything like that for the sanctuary?
We don't. We have had a few individuals come to fulfill their community service hours. And that's, totally fine with us. Like we're always willing to do that, but no, we've never partnered with anybody. That would be something that I would definitely be open to. For our typical volunteering, we do ask that people either can commit to like a weekly or bi-weekly schedule, just because teaching folks the routine would be very difficult and time consuming if we just did it in one-off increments, so the more consistently you come back, the more you can keep up with the changes, get used to the routine, that kind of thing. Because again, we're such a small team, we don't really have the capacity to train people continuously.
How big is your team?
We have 5 part-time staff people.
Nice.
And then I think we have about 20 consistent weekly volunteers.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
What are there any funny stories that's kind of stand out over the years, that just kind of you always constantly think back to and kind of hold a place in your heart?
We were just talking about this yesterday. The funniest stories are always about the pigs, because pigs are we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 pigs currently. 2 large farm pigs, which are like probably about 600 pounds each. And then we have 4 potbelly pigs who are smaller, about 100 to 200 pounds. But they are very smart and they're very fast, even though they're big. And they always seem to get the best of us. So if they get out for some reason, like we were talking about the California pigs that I mentioned earlier, we had fostered 2 of them for another sanctuary in Ohio. And the day that we went to transport them, they escaped trying to get them on the trailer. And so then we had 2 pigs running around the farm very fast in different directions. And it was it was winter and there was snow on the ground and we were running after them. And Sawyer, my the other co-founder, he fell and like did a whole somersault like in the snow. And it had been like very tense like before that, we were like yelling at each other because we were afraid that the pigs are just going to run out on the road. And then he fell and we just all hysterically started laughing. And the pigs were fine, he was fine, we got it all worked out. But it's always the pigs, you know, whenever they get out, we're just chasing them. We look absolutely nuts, and people driving by are probably like, I don't know what's going on there. But
Oh, that's funny. So if people wanted to contribute, donate, volunteer, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
yeah, so you know, if you like animal stories, you can follow us on social media. We post, you know, on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok. If you want more information or want to get involved, you can look at the website. There's a volunteer registration or application on there. We host volunteer orientation the first Saturday of every month. So that's something that people can, you know, plan on. It's from 10 to 2, the first Saturday of the month. And yeah, I mean, and we have other opportunities if people can't, you know, we understand people, there's going to be physical limitations people have and they can't do necessarily the farm work. So this year we're really focusing on trying to expand the volunteer opportunities to be more inclusive. So it could be going to tabling events, it could be writing thank you letters for us, just doing animal grooming, things like that. So I don't want people to be scared about the physical labor. Obviously, that's like the hardest and most kind of pressing issue that we need help with. But there are other things that they can do as well.
Well, that's great. We'll make sure that we include links to all of your accounts, and so people can get more information. And hopefully, we can send some more volunteers, but definitely more money towards your organization, so that we can help you kind of grow your sanctuary and start to rescue more animals.
Yes.
Brittany, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to share the sanctuary with us. Thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you.